it should be fun. Anyway, what's going on, guys? I'm going to be watching chat as well. Join in anywhere you are in the world. And I think the mic works now, so there's always going to be some kind of problem. But this was the streaming software's fault before we even got into this. But before we get onto this live stream talking about PC parts prices, I hope wherever you are in the world, you're doing good, you're staying healthy. That's the most important thing. Remember, keep up your water and your green tea, and you're halfway there. That's the most important thing. Staying healthy, staying positive through these times, because there's going to be the inflation numbers. We've got this predicament where we've got inflation picking up, then we've got deflationary pressures too. That China Evergrande thing, that's it's looking like it's becoming worse a situation by the day. And, even though the media is sort of playing it down, that has the potential to send massive ripples through the market. And remember, we've got the most leverage that we've ever seen in history too. So let's have a look though. We'll get into PC parts and then we'll talk about everything else. You guys join in on chat. I've got slow mode. On chat as well. So there's no spamming this time. We can all have a very good conversation. We can just relax, get the whole system going. You'll notice we've got a whole different setup now going on in the background. And that's because I redid the setup. But let's talk about the first thing is the used sales on eBay for a 1050 Ti. Now, I'm going to point particular attention to the 1050 Ti because it's going to really show the raw gaming demand. A lot of miners aren't in the market for a 1050 Ti 4GB. And so what we found was from September to August, the prices didn't really change, right? We had the average sale of, and this is 200 data points. So I've got 200 data points from both months. And there's a lot of 1050 Ti's being sold on eBay. If you go to sold listings, you'll see how many just sheer numbers of these things are being sold. So the average price for September was $196 versus August, which was $200. So we haven't really changed much at all. That average price is staying the same for a 1050 Ti. Now, I did exclude the scam 1050 Ti's, and I cannot believe, and this is one thing, we'll go and point to this, why are people buying, this is an actual sold listing. Someone bought this for £63. This is not a 1050 Ti. This is complete garbage. And I'm just shocked that people still fall for these scams, right? So I excluded the scam cards. Look at this. Someone paid $190 and they got scammed. The VGA port is the dead giveaway. They never had VGA ports on the 1050 Ti's, at least not to my knowledge. I mean, especially from a brand you've never heard of as well. So this is the scammer special, $190. Someone just got completely hosed. I mean, hopefully they're like, look, I'm getting my money back. I mean, Juan Mail, his feedback has looked like he's already copped a negative on that one. But this one, I excluded that. I also excluded what looked like anomalies. They're just stupid. I mean, who's going to pay $500 for a 1050 Ti? So these were 200 data points of just realistic sales, working cards. And you see the price didn't change a whole lot from month to month. So in other words, the graphics card prices are still high than what you'd want them to be. Crypto mining is still dictating the prices of the 6700 XT, for example. This is still staying, it's still staying in that level where it was a few months ago after the big drop. So it seems like miners are still picking up the cards at a higher price floor than what the gamers are prepared to pay. And I found this recently in the local market as well. I was really shocked because the person that I got the 1050 Ti off, right? This was a true story, and we'll go over the big screen. So the person that I got the 1050 Ti off, they sold me all those cards, right? They were happy with that sale, but then they said, oh, I've got some 1080 Ti's. And I was like, oh, okay, 1080 Ti's. Maybe we can get a bit of a deal going on here because he's got a lot of them for sale. And he basically put them up. He's just because I put in an offer, I think it was 600 Aussie a card, right, for a 1080 Ti, which would be around 400 and probably at the current rates around 430 US. So he got back to me and he said, look, a miner came and picked up pretty much all these cards. So he just got cleaned up, 1080 Ti's from a miner, and they just came and picked them up above the price that I was willing to pay for these 1080 Ti's. So the miners are still strong. These guys are still beating to their own drum. They're like bang, bang, bang. They don't care about what the gaming market's doing. So you've got that detachment at the moment still in the market. That still exists. So that's what we can see. But on other price points, and we'll go back to this graph we pulled up here for you guys. On other price points here, we have an interesting observation here. And that is that I decided to throw in just a weird sort of off sort of pick here with the Ryzen 5 2600. And we can see here from this graph that from September to August, the prices of Ryzen 5 2600s didn't really move. So we actually, I believe the averages, what did I have on the average? So there wasn't as many data points as there was nowhere near as the amount of data points as the 1050 Ti. So we had an average of 120 versus 121. So that moved up $1. So the 1050 Ti and the 2600 prices on the used market didn't really change a whole lot from month to month there. So that's a good thing, right? If you're looking to buy a part, you want to make sure that if it's going up, you're going to start getting worried, right? Especially when we've got the inflation figures coming out and they're being the highest they've ever been in I think it's in 13 years. So the inflation numbers are picking up. And the scary reality of the inflation, let me just talk about the inflation here on the live stream, is that the scary thing is about inflation. If it picks up 0.8% in a month, and we relate that back to the 1050 Ti prices, on average, everything's gone up 0.8% in just 1 month. I think that was the worst month this year for the US. Now, if you're looking at a $200 card, that's picking up the price nearly $2 in just 1 month. So it's kind of like when you look at it that way, you're like, oh wow, 1 month, this card has just gone up $2. And couple that in with a few other effects that we've got going on in the market, there is this trend towards higher inflation, which I've been talking about. And that's mainly because I believe globalization and economies of scale have reached a peak in themselves. Because perhaps this inflation rate, when we look at the M2 money supply in the world, and we're going to go a little bit crazy on the live stream, but we're giving you guys a different perspective here, a different perspective on the market and the tech market that you would otherwise get from other channels. And that is like, as economies of scale max out and you've got money supply increasing, you've got then more sustained inflation or more noticeable inflation than what you're previously used to. Because as economies of scale picked up, especially in the land of computer parts, whether it be CPUs or GPUs, you had this increase in economies of scale, which brought the price down because it was more efficient to produce that part. Now, we contrast that to that being peaked out. Well, what have we got left? Just higher prices in general. So you're going to see in the next few years, I think prices in general will just start creeping up. The average 6-core might be, okay, and now it's $200 for a Ryzen 5 3600. The average 6-core might be $300 in 3 years' time. So that's what inflation does. It's surprising. I mean, if we look at Amazon right now, we'd be like, oh, okay. And I was surprised actually on Amazon, you could get a 6700 XT. It's like, what's going on here? You know, like I haven't seen a 6700 XT under $1,000 on Amazon for a couple of months. So I guess stock's starting to flow through for GPUs, of course, because that's all they can make right now. As the prices are high, everyone's going to be shipping out those graphics cards, don't worry. Then we got Ryzen 5 3600. So this is another thing I've noticed too. Another trend in the market right now is definitely, I would say if you're shopping for PC parts at the moment, it looks like eBay is offering better prices in general than Amazon's offering on a few different things. But of course, if you're shopping to get into the gaming PC market, whether you're building it for a flip or building it for a friend or building it for yourself, this is definitely something to look at where, you know, why pay $295 for a CPU when you can go on eBay and get it for, you know, there's checking the used listings there. You can go and get the, got a heap of listings up here. You can go and get the 3600 for $183. So $185 best offer. So be a bit of a smart shopper. And the good thing with eBay is that you've generally got like hosing protection. You're not going to get hosed unless you bank deposit. So always be careful about bank depositing money into someone's account. You don't want to do that without knowing who they are. So this looks like a great trend that's going on. So switch between eBay and at the moment switch between eBay and Amazon to buy your parts. 10100F. If we look on another sort of CPU, $99, coming under $100. Great price. If you're looking for a budget CPU to get into gaming, 10100F looks like it's fantastic value at $99. So it's sort of like what we're seeing is that jet coaster effect. And I talked about this in the yesterday's parts hunt 2 days ago. We talked about that where you're going to see prices up and down. And that's what volatility is. Basically, volatility is going to pick up. And that's volatility is when just things go up and down, up and down. That's going to pick up as we go forward with or everything that's going on in the world right now. So you're going to see in coming years that printing money isn't the solution to everything. But in that time, right, if you can find what you know is good prices, and I'll tell you on this live stream what is going to be good prices, then go pick them up, because they're probably not going to last that long. But $99, 10100F, that'd definitely be one of the picks of the month in terms of new parts on CPUs. Another thing as well, DDR4 memory. I mean, 16 gigabyte kit here for $50. That's also really good. Someone else in chat said the 10900F. I didn't check the 10900F. Actually been eyeing that one off. That's a really good pick. 10900, sorry, voice gone. 10900, 380. Not bad for 10 cores, 20 threads. The case, and as we looked at recently, I wouldn't even bother with overclocking motherboards and chips at the moment, because you can just undervolt and save yourself some money. So that's a great way to go if you're getting into PC gaming, or even just editing videos or anything like that. So 10900 looks like it's a good buy at 380 at the moment. Definitely, thanks for that in the chat. You guys in the chat are definitely giving some good recommendations. 5600X, we can track the new Ryzen prices as well. $289 come back in at a decent price, which is funny. We've got a 5600X coming in at a cheaper price on Amazon than a Ryzen 5 3600. So you can just sort of see that, okay, this one's 248, but we did, yeah, 295. So don't buy this one. Definitely don't buy that. You can get a 5600 for cheaper on Amazon prices. And I'm like, look, my shipping location's set to Beverly Hills, okay? So it's not like people will be like, Brian, you're overseas. You're not getting the local prices. Yeah, Beverly Hills 90210. That's the only postcode like I remember from the US. I don't know what it is, but there was that drama when I was a kid. Always rung in my head, that 90210. So yeah, maybe everyone else's head, it's like that's the postcode that rings in your head when you're thinking of a postcode in America. But we got here also, I did find like a power supply as well. There was like I mean, there's certain parts that you want to really snap on and get them really quick. Like this here, we got a power supply, EVGA 500 watt, $25. That's a no-brainer as well. So if you're looking to put together your PC, it's going to be definitely a lot different, a sort of method to put it together than you used to. Where if you want to go out and get ripped off, say for instance, like, look, I want to put together a Ryzen 5 3600 gaming PC with a 650 watt power supply, you might be in for a shock, right? $295 for the Ryzen 5 3600. Then you got, what's the go with these Ares games? Has anyone looked at these Ares games power supplies yet? Because I did, like the EVGA ones, I know they're solid, but has anyone really looked at these? I mean, okay, anyway, back to the topic. You go out buy the 3600, go out and pay $80 for a 650 watt power supply, then go get your 6700 XT. You're already going near $1,500 for your gaming PC. And so that's kind of a funny predicament that you're in. So what your goal is now to build a PC is kind of like to just mix and match and find where the bargains are at on eBay and Amazon. And that's kind of going to be your best route going forward to make sure you don't get ripped off. So that's kind of like the PC parts watch this month. I've noticed that it hasn't really changed from last month in terms of, if we'll get on the big screen, but things haven't really changed a whole lot from last month. And so, okay, they are horribly inefficient. Okay, so Gamers Nexus took a look at the Ares games power supplies, said they were inefficient. So they're lying about, perhaps they're lying about the 80 plus bronze rating. Was that the verdict on that 80 plus bronze certified? They're lying about the certification there. Because I know Gamers Nexus, they have a lot of power. They have some really expensive gear now to test the power supplies out. That's some really, really top end gear they have. Okay, so they lie about the 80 plus mark. And that's kind of like, that sucks, because for me, that rating is actually pretty important going forward, right? Especially if the price of power is going to go up worldwide. If you live in the US, you don't know when the price of power could go up. So saving every watt kind of counts. if if you're on a budget. So that's is it me or did Brian's eyebrows change? Yeah, I mean, my eyebrows, like I shave my head and then, so I've got 3 mil, 6 mil, 10 mil, 25 mil. I cut my own hair, by the way. And then I just quickly run over my eyebrows with the 9 mil. So that might look a little bit different. You gotta clean yourself up. Like this is what we'll quickly just interlude before we get back. This is what a Tech Yes City live stream's all about. Go ask your questions, guys. Ask your questions, I'll answer. But you got to make yourself clean. You got to make yourself presentable, right? You go out, you try to meet a girl. Are you going to meet a girl that looks like a slob? No, right? You want to meet someone who looks like they take care of themselves. So always be looking fresh. Always take care of yourselves, guys, wherever you are in the world. Stay healthy. Jar Jar right here, he's got some green tea. He has some green tea, and always going to say, get on your green tea game. And don't go to the supermarket and buy that stuff with sugar all in it. They got the iced tea green tea. That stuff tastes sweet. No, you want the bitter. You want to wake up in the morning, have a bitter green tea, and that'll keep your health and your everything looking really good. You know what I mean? So you got to take care of yourself. So cutting my own hair since the pandemic saved me a lot of money. I don't think I'll go back to the barbers anytime. Yeah, I've been cutting my hair since I was 18 years old. And the reason being is I went to the hairdresser when I was, or the barber. I went there when I was 18. I went there and I said, like, I had this haircut in mind. Like, I like to keep my hair short, but I don't like to just pretty much have a skinhead or a shaved head. Like, sometimes I'll do the shaved head or whatever, but generally I like it a little bit longer on the top than the sides. And so I told the barber, I'm like, yo, this is what I want. And pretty much the guy just got the clippers, shaved all my hair off. And then he's like, oh, that's what you wanted, yeah? And I'm like, dude, like, what, I look terrible. And then he's like, oh, $13 or whatever they charged for a haircut back then. So I was like, man, what's the price of a pair of clippers? So I just did my own research. Pair of clippers costs around $20. And just been cutting my own hair since I was 18 years old. I haven't been it's pretty scary because I haven't been to the barber for a very long time. So, and what happened was I went there a second time in the year. So I went to the barber twice in the year, and they completely messed up my haircut. So, I mean, you got to go obviously to a good barber, but I just like, all right, man, I'll just cut my own hair. So I've been doing it ever since, comfortable because the end result. I've never had someone say, oh man, you got a terrible haircut. I haven't had that since I was 18. So, people laughed at me. I was like, why am I paying money to be laughed at? So that's the catch there. But so what we got going out anyway, PC parts and the trends. Back to the parts prices. Hasn't changed a whole lot from August to September. That being said, there is some very, very big catalysts to look out for that's going to affect everything. It's not just going to affect PC parts prices, has the ability to affect a lot of different things. And that is, of course, the US debt ceiling. They're laying that out. They're not really, they haven't technically, they could still default. So you got to take care, you got to look at these things and see, okay, what's going on in the market, because there's these certain catalysts that could be huge deflationary pressures. And if suddenly you have a 2008 Lehman style crisis, believe me when I say prices will crash if that happens. So what you want to do is you want to be ready, because maybe the debt ceiling just gets passed again. They pass this $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Government's back on the printers. So you've got these two sides that you've really got to look for in the market and stay prepared, because either of these things could happen, right? I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball, but if one of them happens, it'll bring prices down. The other happens, it's going to keep the money printer going, but also that, unlimited jackpot. Because right now with crypto miners, that's what they're doing. They just keep buying up graphics cards. A lot of these guys are going to Best Buy as well. Like, I keep seeing it everywhere I go now. Like, people on my Twitter, like, Best Buy's got a Best Buy drop. And then the guys will go buy the GPUs, put them on the mining bench. And it's like, wasn't the Best Buy drop intended to get a game or a graphics card at a decent price? But sure enough, you just got all the miners buying up the cards still. So in terms of the GPU prices, they're still high. In terms of other prices, they're not too bad, but you've got to look at different platforms, whether it's eBay or if it's Amazon. Just look around for the best deal. So other parts are still priced reasonably well. It's just the graphics cards at this point in time. So that's what I'm finding with the parts. And so you do want to be you do want to be up to speed and be ready to react. That's the most important thing. What I'm going to say going forward is, again, those two forces that are out there, they are massive, and they have the Robbie asked, I basically don't understand US has debts. I thought they are the one who gives debts. No, the US government has massive amount of debt. Oh my God. Like, if you know, they got a huge amount of debt, $28.5 trillion. Like the US government is just one of the most indebted entities in the world. And so what happens here, they've got a debt ceiling that was passed they basically in 2019, they passed a rule to suspend the debt ceiling. And now that's come back into effect. So that debt ceiling's been way overblown. So here's the line here. I wonder if I should pull out the paint shop on live. But we've got the debt ceiling there. There's the debt ceiling. They've got debt way over that ceiling. And so they can't borrow anymore. Effectively, they can't sell any more bonds to the Treasury, which is the Fed. The Fed. They can't sell any more bonds to the Fed to raise more money and basically, give out more money to whether it's projects, this and that. So the US government's in a tricky situation. Now, if the government shuts off, then this time around, it's going to be massive because we are more reliant on government money than we have ever been at pretty much any point in history. If you were to look at the statistics, on government spending as a percentage of gross domestic product, that's all the money that flows in an economy in 1 year, government spending has now gone up to levels that they've never been in the past. So there you go. So you're more reliant on government now. If the government spending gets cut off, massive deflationary pressure, potentially. Now you've got to be ready to react, okay? So have a bit of dry powder ready. But again, if the opposite happens, bills get passed, printers roll back on, then it's inflation city. I don't know, then either way, it's a scary reality. It's not going to be a smooth sailing process. If anyone's sitting there thinking the next few months or the next year is just going to be the smooth sailing process, it ain't going to be smooth sailing. That's all I know. It's going to be either whoop or up and down. And so we're homing in. We're homing into crunch time right now. So that's the truth of all this. We're homing in to Judgment Day. You know, like Terminator, except this time it's with the dollar. You know, you've got the dollar going, you've got Terminator coded in dollar bills basically, and he's coming around. You're like, well, is he on my side or is he against me? So that's kind of like where you're at the moment. You've got the dollar bill covered Terminator. You got to picture this with me. You've got the dollar bill covered Terminator coming in. You're like, you know, you're John Connor and you're sitting there. You're like, is he gonna help me or is he against me? And so you won't know until pretty much later this month. So, and that's how quick it's coming. It's coming around the corner. So that's how quickly it's coming. So, and it's not going to be pretty either way. So that's all I'm going to say. So save your pennies. I mean, depends, right? You don't know. If it's a massive inflation, if they make the massive inflation play, markets are back on again. So, and that's what I mean. And Bitcoin itself is susceptible to leverage. So do be careful. And we can talk about cryptocurrencies quickly because, I mean, a lot of people are invested in cryptocurrencies. Me personally, Ethereum was good until I've tried using the Ethereum network. It's very sluggish. And this is the number 2 cryptocurrency, right? So cryptocurrencies still have a huge way to go. Are they a good hedge against what's to come? Nobody knows. And this is the thing. This is going to be the test for Bitcoin and all other cryptocurrencies. Which way are they going to go? So that's going to be a scary thing. And at the end of the day, I don't have the answers because no one's experienced this stuff before. History books cannot tell you which way cryptocurrency is going to go. I feel like, however, since there's massive leverage tied to cryptocurrencies, if it is that scenario where there's no resolution made for the government debt, then that's going to spell very bad news for cryptocurrency. However, it's the other news. If the printers keep rolling, crypto will go to the moon. I think that's the other scenario. So again, which way it's going to go, just got to stay out. We got a $5 dono here from, thanks my man, Nori SS. He says, I work for a global manufacturer and the shortages you saw this past year is nothing compared to what's coming the next few months. Good luck. I've heard this as well. I've heard shipping containers have gone up to $20,000 as well. So that's some... it's really scary. So I think Nori SS is giving out some good advice there. Man, it's So previous shortages were definitely inflation. Now you're actually seeing cutoffs. So the shortages that are coming now will be actual real shortages. Yeah, and that's another scary thing as well. And so that will definitely, that's an inflationary pressure, huge inflationary pressure, because you've got all this money chasing less goods. And so that's what, when we look at the macro side of things, this is where some economists have come out and said, we're heading into an inflationary depression because you got less people working, you got less money changing hands, and you just got higher prices because supply chains are getting cut off. So if you're substituting government money for services and products, then what are those people who were previously working no longer are working and providing a service or a product to the economy. And so that contracts what there is to buy essentially with more money. So that's huge inflation in itself. So, I mean, yeah, just be ready though, because this is you got to be, one thing is for certain, always know what the news is going to spell. Always know what the news is going to spell and then be ready to react. Because one good thing about being a little guy, one thing that I can tell you with certainty, if you're the little guy, you can react very fast, as opposed to bigger hedge funds or bigger markets or bigger players in the game. You know, for instance, if you want to build a PC and you've got $500 saved, what's going on? Welcome to the chat, guys. Yeah, join in, have some fun. If you're okay, so AMD CPU in Australia went from $850 to $799. Yeah, so that's basically the CPU industry is not doing too well because people aren't buying gaming PCs because all the crypto miners are buying up all the GPUs, which takes away the incentive to buy a gaming PC because the prices are too high. So you probably find the consoles are still sold out as opposed to that AMD CPU dropping because people are like, well, why pay all this money for a PC when I can just go to buy a console? But what we got now is, sorry, lost track there. As brain fart midstream. So I forgot what we got. Ugh. This is a big brain fart live stream. We were talking about something, and then we were going back to something, and something happened. People going on about Zimbabwe. Yeah, Zimbabwe wasn't a good scenario. That's an example of hyperinflation. Same with Venezuela. They've got pretty much what's considered hyperinflation. Just keep printing money. It's not the solution. Encouraging. So inflationary depression. Yeah, that's like sort of, that's the looking like the reality, man. I'm going to be honest, but I'm always honest with you guys on live stream. So let's take our time, settle down. I was on a topic and then I got sidetracked and I'm like, man, I completely lost train of thought. GPU prices, stagflation. Okay. So GPU prices. So the little guy, yeah, being the little guy. There we go. Okay, yeah, being the little guy. You can react super fast, right? If you've got your $500 ready to go, and you're like, okay, I'm waiting for that price to come down. I think maybe the US is going to default on that debt, and I want to be ready to just wait a little bit longer. So if you've got $500. You can just wait another month because you know prices are then going to go down. This is a massive catalyst that's going to crash the economy. But if we're on the other side and you got your $500 and then you see straight away, debt ceilings reached a resolution. Debt ceiling reached a resolution, and Biden's stimulus bill's back on. You can straight away just jump on Facebook Marketplace, jump on eBay, whatever, quickly smash up whatever parts you're going to get your $500 PC. So that's the advantage you have as the little guy. If you're a big player, if you're a PC retailer, you're a shop, you've suddenly got a limit on how much you can buy because there's going to be other shops that are like, oh, this news is bad. I better buy up everything I can right now because it's only going to get worse. So as the little guy, you've got time to react. Just remember that. So that's the one advantage you have, okay? If you want to build a PC in the next month and you've been waiting because you maybe think, okay, that scenario that we talked about, the big crash, could happen and that will bring GPU prices down. I feel like that will bring GPU prices down. But then we've got the other side, as Nori said before, the inflation side, and that could get a lot worse too. So, man, really rocky road ahead. So That's a good question from Christian. I mean, Christian, you asked a question. It's just there's swearing in there. So what's the point of waiting if inflation is going to F the price further at this point? So what's the point of waiting? Basically, the point of waiting is that as prices of food, right? Food, you've got to go back to the essentials, right? When we talk about the essentials of what happens, food starts getting expensive. Rent, people charge more rent because they need to make more money if they've got to pay their loans. Rents will go up, food will go up, electricity goes up, everything. In a proper shortage, everything goes up in price. So therefore, the last thing people are thinking about is getting a graphics card for a gaming PC. So if you got actual shortages going on, some of the times it can spell like actual shortages versus just raw inflation of money supply. You've got a whole different situation altogether. So there's actually kind of, if you branch on one side, we've got the deflationary camp with the massive crash. Then we've got in the inflation side, we've got the two different sides of actual shortages raising the price with limited money supply, which then creates that creates a chaotic scenario. And then we've just got straight away, just smooth inflation, smooth sailing. Government prints money and buy your stuff straight away if that happens. So the deflationary camp is one of those arguments that can bring about lower GPU prices, especially because the amount of GPUs that have been bought up by crypto miners is scary. It's really scary. And you can see that on the Steam surveys too. So there's heaps of GPUs out there. But in terms of, CPU, like if we were to go back to this graph right here, like if you're looking at buying right now, like again, a 500 watt, always look at price floors. Here's another thing we'll talk about, price floors, because sooner or later, things always revert to a price floor because you got to look at price floor is important. Price ceilings as well. Price ceilings exist because people just run out of money. Let's get back to price floors though. This 500 watt power supply, if I was in America, I would be buying up actually quite a few of these right now because that's a price floor. It doesn't get cheaper than 25 bucks for a 500 watt power supply. I know that, especially a decent one, because once it starts going below a certain price, the manufacturer just stops making it. And then that alone buffs the price back up. So this is a great item here. The 10100F, same deal, 4 cores, 8 threads, 99 bucks. That's cheap. Like these are the parts that I'm recommending this month. Same with DDR4 memory. Definitely worth a buy. And in terms of the GPU though, we're kind of stuck with a mediocre market. 850 bucks, 800 bucks for that 6700 XT. Kind of been, I think it was going under 700 a couple of months ago. Did creep up a little bit last month. This month seems like a similar story. But definitely your DDR4 memory, your CPU, your motherboard, and all your other stuff. And this is what the GPU prices have to do with right here. So this is what we got here. Oh man, but let's go back. We'll answer a few chats because this is an important one. Look at this volatility. Look at this volatility right here. 4,500. This is in Aussie dollars. We could probably change it to US dollars, just so we don't confuse some people. We got here going from $2,700 to 93, like up. Look at that volatility. I mean, this thing's up and down like a yo-yo. And we're talking about this last month. Crypto prices are actually getting more volatile too. So that should be an indicator that perhaps this crash is coming sooner than later, but we don't know. I'm not going to call it. Look, I'm only going to react to a crash. That's it, because I'm not calling it anymore, and that's it. So that's is that you, Dadman? I'm just on live stream. You want to come and join in? Hey, you guys have been asking for Dadman though. He'll do a little cameo, come in and say hello. So you can come over, mate. What's going on?
Same as usual, different day.
Okay. Well, the camera's like, maybe if you like get right up to that wall, you can come in and say hello to the live stream viewers. So Dadman's here. So I'll put you on wide. I think you should be able to see it. That's extra wide. So if you get close to that tile there, you can then say, wait, the chat's on too.
Back here.
Yeah. So you guys can say hello to Dadman. No, you got to come in right close to that robot. See that little red robot? Or you can come in here, but I've changed my whole setup. See that red robot? He's right here.
Oh, there.
Yeah, if you come in close there, people should be able to see you.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so there you are there. You can see your hand. There you can say hello. Watch out, mate. Don't lean on that. You'll drop the whole thing.
All right,
Yeah. So you guys haven't seen him in a while. He has been absent, but he has been healthy. It's great to see Dadman. So you can come in and join in.
okay. Should have grabbed that, yeah.
Oh, you just come in. Did you want me to run down the shops a bit later and grab some dinner
Oh,
and cook?
some,
Yeah, all right, cook it up, mate. Yeah.
There you
All right.
go.
There's Dadman. You got to get down. So
Where's the camera? Over here.
yeah, there you go, mate.
Hello, everybody.
Mate. There we go. So you can take the hot seat, mate, and they can ask you some questions.
Okay. Oh, sure.
So, was Dadman a surfer? Were you a surfer?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, when I was young.
When he was a young bloke, yeah.
Yeah, I used to love surfing. Yeah.
Okay, and what about? Yeah, but you're a builder now, so yeah, he became a builder. So a surfer mixed with a builder, that explains the wild hair.
Of course.
So yeah, there you go.
Goes without saying.
So now, if you're looking at this, okay, I just going to ask you about this cryptocurrency. Do you reckon it's going to go up or down?
Oh, down.
No, you reckon it's going to crash,
for
eh?
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, really, all this cryptocurrency is so overdone. I mean, what are you really buying? And you're not even buying a piece of paper, surely.
Well, you're buying zeros and ones, so you're buying some digits.
You're
Like,
buying
but,
digits, that's about it, yeah.
but you're not even buying that. You don't own the digits. That's just the data transfer.
Yeah, but
so.
what really worries me, say times get really hard and you're starving, so you're going to go out there, look, could you accept my cryptocurrency for a little bit of food?
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
It just doesn't equate. That's the whole
So
thing.
you reckon someone's going to turn you back if they come and offer you cryptocurrency for your food?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, look, if he's a sensible guy, he'd probably say, yeah, well, give us a bit of piece of paper to chew on. At least that'll get me going. You know, so.
Okay, yeah. All right, so that's it. All right, so it's on the camp of. It's an interesting argument, one that you got for and against. So there is actually.
But the funny thing is, I mean, you've got the cryptocurrency, you've got the Chinese one. Now there's another one coming out, and that's the Facebook one.
So you got
and
a
then there's gonna
$5
be-
donation, mate, from Nori SS. He said, "It's Linus's grandpa. Just kidding. High tech, yes," said he pops. Make sure Brian eats his vegetables.
Yeah, we make sure of that.
Well, I eat my vegetables.
Oh, of course we do.
I don't want to eat
yeah.
I don't want to eat my vegetables. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, thanks for the donation. We'll get some vegetables with that $5.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say, Matthew Lang said, mate, you've already got more donations than I've got in whole stream. You've been sitting here for 2 minutes, and people are donating you all the money.
Wow.
Yeah.
I find
So
that,
Matthew Lang,
I
$10.
find
He
that
said,
incredible,
just
yeah.
wanted to say hi to Dadman. Will we be seeing you on any upcoming builds?
Oh,
Good to
look,
see you, mate.
Yeah, no, it was good to say hello to everybody.
Yeah, so we'll do a cameo.
Why not?
Yeah, all right, we'll do a cameo. Okay, in an upcoming build, done. So
Consider it done.
he said, in power outrages, how will the miners process transactions? Well, that's it. Yeah. So if you've got power outages as well, then how will cryptocurrency be useful? It won't. This is one thing that I can
But there was a big thing, I think, I don't know where South Africa, that's where they were from.
Yeah.
2 young guys started up their own cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
They got in billions, and now everybody's trying to find them where the money's gone. They've all disappeared. So that's the danger, that you're actually
there's been countless scams in crypto.
bringing upon yourself. So you're virtually loading somebody else's pocket without even knowing where you're putting your money into. So it's just
that's
doesn't
the
make sense,
basic arguments. Yeah. So
and also the whole thing is you've just got to analyse, and you've got to do a bit of background thinking to sort of put it all together and make sure you don't dig a big hole for yourself. 'Cause it's quite easy to fall down there.
Ultimately, my thinking is there's some of them that will have merit. I just think the whole market's overblown right now.
Well, definitely. But the whole thing is.
Oh, you got a new member as well. Hi, Dadman. What is preferable? He says a HD 7970 or a 280X.
Is that a car?
It's a graphics card. So he said, which one's
card.
preferable?
I'm not quite sure on that one. That's
I don't think, so he doesn't know, but I'll answer the question. Whichever one looks like it's in better condition and has the lowest price, because they're virtually the same graphics card.
Well, the same identical, are they? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So that's
You
it.
learn something every day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thanks for becoming a member too.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
So one thing actually I can talk about this is the Fukushima, the Japanese nuclear reactor event.
Yeah.
No one, see, I was one of the few people probably in this audience here that was at that event. Now the whole power,
right.
they shut off the whole power for quite a while.
Yeah.
You know, it was scary because it was winter, you had no heating, nothing. So we all had to get together. Someone had an electric power generator and we all clumped together at their place and we helped each other out. So that's kind of like you got reminded of how reliant we are on all this electricity, technology, and but it can be cut off.
Exactly right. And all these crucial elements are just virtually taken for granted nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's always there, but you get certain things that happen that can cut these elements clean off, and then, you know, you're suffering.
Exactly.
So that's the whole thing.
And in that case, since cash is only 3% of all currency circulated, cash can technically be king.
Pretty well.
So there you go.
Right, because it's readily acceptable. You know, so
there it is. And that's the funny thing. Who knows?
That's right.
All I'm saying is, for my audience, be ready to react. That's the best thing you can do.
Actually, I'll be moving on very shortly. But anyway, surfer, builder. I mean, there's plenty of other things I've done. But the whole thing, my whole gratitude is I'm actually licensed to build the tallest skyscrapers here in Australia. There's only 5% of those licenses, and I'm saying, wow, over the moon, possessing something like that. Well, that's my proud element. So okay.
There you go. He's got his full open builder's license. That's it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Dadman, any pommy blood or full Aussie?
Bit of pommy blood, and going back a while, but I'd say it's all Aussie now.
Oh mate, you dropped the whole thing. There's my hairline gone.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right, I'll fix it.
It was just a funny sort of.
Okay. The Star Wars Lego. That's it. There's our scuff setup. Now you guys can see what happened there. Hold on, the chat will went there. It sort of dropped off, and now we got lights on the Darth Vader Lego there. So, whew. Alrighty, welcome back to chat. Brian, be careful. You're talking about Fukushima made a current fall at my flat. Oh, you're in Japan. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't want to curse you, man, if you're in Japan, but that one was a nasty earthquake. Hey, that was a nasty earthquake in Japan. I remember that time, man. Like yesterday. That was insane. That earthquake. And the aftershock as well. So we had that earthquake was like massive. It was like, if you've ever been to an earthquake simulator, the worst case scenario, it was similar to that, but it lasted longer. And then you had the aftershock, which was the second worst earthquake I'd felt in Japan. So all in one go. Anyway, how's it going? Going really well, guys. I worked out this morning, woke up, worked out, put a few office PCs together, put another budget PC together. Someone's begging Brian. Who's begging me? What's going on? I don't know. Brian, did you get any of Dad's construction skills? When I was younger, I went out to work with my dad, so I can do concreting. I can do that. We were doing a lot of concreting jobs when I was a young boy. So I think for a reason, right? I think Dadman brought me along doing a lot of concreting because it's extreme. It's the toughest job to do in construction. So that's what I was doing when I was younger. I can't paint. Like, my painting skills is like doing this here. It's pretty rubbish. My painting's like really mediocre. You can't see the defects in the paint because the camera's sort of blurred it out. And how come you don't do phone reviews? Because, okay, so we can talk about that quickly before we get back to the sort of PC enthusiast tech stuff. I'm not passionate about phones. The reason I don't do phones, I'm passionate about used PC parts, gaming PCs. I'm really passionate about that stuff. But I don't do phone reviews because I'm just not passionate about the phones. I don't use my phone for, like, outside of just using using it as a functional thing, like for calling people, taking photos, Twitter, whatnot. I don't care a whole lot about my phone. So this is actually a Huawei P. This will be a P20. So this right here is a Huawei P20 Pro. I think it's a Mate 20 Pro, and it's served my purposes extremely well. Like, it's a really good phone. I have had no desire to upgrade it. I actually had a Pixel 3 XL before that, and the Pixel 3 XL just busted down. So I after that I was like, well, I'll get back to the Huawei P20 because it's got Android Auto. I can use that with my car. And that was the most important thing. As long as I had Android Auto and some other features, I was all good in doing, in not really getting into phones too much. But there's some phones out there. A lot of my friends, they go get the latest iPhone 12 iPhone. They're telling me about the iPhone 13 or something like that. But it doesn't, like, I'm not passionate about it. Like, if I got an iPhone 12 or if I got a new Samsung Mate, 21, I don't even know the number they're on now, then I don't see myself really gaining any advantage out of that. For me, it's a waste of money. So, like, I don't gain anything because I'm probably not going to do much else with that phone. So anyway, we'll get back to some questions here. So Internet of Things, Intel, when's the next workout video? we could do another workout video if you guys really want. Last time we did one, really good. I would like to, I've got to be more dedicated in buffing up a little bit more. I do want to put on a few more kilos in terms of what I'm at now. Like, I've put on a little bit, but not, I want to gain a bit more than I did. So is the 3300X CPU still available? Yeah, I mean, I've seen ads for that. 3300X is sort of coming back into stock, I believe. It was out of stock for quite a while, but I think now CPUs are catching up and they're coming back in stock. So yeah, so we got here, would you please follow up with Dadman sometime soon with a question? How does he source all that PC stuff? Dumpster diving. Me, like, how do I source the PC stuff? I do everything. So I got contacts, I'll do the parts hunts. There's a lot of different ways. So me and the used parts, it's going to be a long-term relationship. But let's get back to the cryptocurrency right now. I think, again, this is going to be related. So a lot is happening in the next month, not just for PC parts prices, but also in terms of the direction of cryptocurrencies and their prices. So this is going to be one of the next few months is just going to be super interesting. Be ready to react. I don't know, anything can happen in this market. We're already seeing signs of that. Again, you're seeing a 5600X costing less than a 3600 on Amazon. That should not be happening. But you're already starting to see weird things go out of control. AliExpress GPU prices are still pretty expensive. If you're desperate, that's kind of a pretty high price to pay. But perhaps it's not that bad considering the average price of a 1050 Ti in America on eBay is $195. So it's like, it's bad, but it's not like the end of the world bad. That's all I'll say. Just keep that in mind. And we got a $5 donation here. I subscribed to Patreon a while back, but it hasn't reflected on Discord. Do you know what's happened there, Brian? By the way, keep up the good work. Oh, thanks, dude. I'll change that on Discord for you manually after this live stream. So, and thanks for the donation. And yeah, don't know what happened there. I thought the Discord was all automated by this time, but maybe I'm not the best at programming, my friend. Not the best at programming. So we got, is ETH 2.0 going to impact GPU prices? When that comes, like, I'm on the fence now. I've seen enough talk about ETH to realize that they keep deliberately delaying their change to proof of stake. If we look at ETH and the Ethereum miners, I mean, InnoSilicon. I think it's InnoSilicon that makes InnoSilicon. These guys make the ASIC miners, right? So you look at these guys, they're just sold out of these miners. So they're going to have an incentive. They're going to be like, yo, the developers of Ethereum, they're like, yo, you've got to hold back on these miners. Because I bought, years ago, I bought Zencash Ethereum, sorry, not Ethereum. I bought Zencash ASIC miners for Zencash from this website. So it made a little bit of bank. And these guys are legit. But be sure, like, because there's a heap of other cons out there. But these guys are all sold out of their Ethereum miners. They've got ETH miners here, and they're all sold out. So they're going to want to be like, yo, if you're an Ethereum developer, they might even give them a kickback. I probably shouldn't say this on live stream, but because you're making assumptions here, theoretically, if someone was to sell out of something, they're going to want to keep producing it because it's hot. So they're going to have they could potentially give someone else an incentive to delay whatever changes that could negatively affect their sales. And so they could keep selling the stuff. So that's what I'm starting to see, right? I mean, I've seen this talk now. It's happened for ages with Ethereum moving to proof of stake. And I just don't think it's ever going to happen until things properly crash in the cryptocurrency market, because then the incentives to change over to proof of stake are there as opposed to staying on proof of work. So Rockmain35 is my username on Discord. Cool, man. I'll add that. I'll fix that up for you. I just got a Bitcoin. Oh no. See, I didn't want you guys to get served with crypto ads, but it's important to talk about this because it is related to the price of graphics cards too. And Ethereum starting now to have the ASIC miners come in is actually a really good thing, but we need those more efficient ASIC miners because 500 mega hash, that is done. I believe that is done with roughly 53080s. So yeah, that's it. There we go. Anyway, we get back to some questions, and this is the. So also we've also got on other news. We've got the Alder Lake coming out as well. So before we close off the stream, we've got Alder Lake that's coming out. It's got very interesting product skew because we got a what looks like the 12700K is going to have perhaps 8 cores and then 4 little cores, so 20 threads. And that's going to cost around $390. The 12900K is going to cost $600. The KF, $578. But that being said, if the 12900 KF comes in with better performance than a 5950X, this will spell a huge market shift back to Intel from AMD. So they'll be on top. That's if. So these prices do look promising. It is moving over to their 10 nanometer, which they subsequently said, look, 10 nanometer, what we've got similar to TSMC's 7 nanometer, so we're just going to call it Intel 7, which is like, no Intel, come on, just be, it was originally a 10 nanometer, it's going to stay 10 nanometer kind of thing. So Alder Lake, a lot of people are looking forward to this. I am looking forward to this. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens if they can sort of just completely turn the tables in the CPU market, because they could be getting thrashed. Let's put it that way. So 8 big, 8 little. And apparently you need Windows 11 to work properly. There's also someone who bought an engineering sample. There's this dude who bought an engineering sample and he's like showing it off, but he doesn't have a motherboard to test it. But he's basically, I guess he wanted to pay all that money just to show that, hey, it's real and it exists. And so we've got some questions coming in as well, but we'll talk about the worst game. We'll talk about the worst game that's been apparently ever released on Steam. We'll get onto that soon. We've got some questions. Do you think the RX 580 8GB is still viable for gaming today? Yeah, definitely. Oh, I think even like a GTX 960 is viable for gaming. A 750 Ti. I think in this market right now with the GPU prices being so high, I think, what's going to count as viable gaming is going to be less than what it was before. I mean, when you got games like coming out like this, you're not going to need a great graphics card. Yeah. I mean, this is like this. I thought this would bring a smile to your face and have a good laugh. Like apparently this was like, they released this game on Steam from Konami. It's weird because Konami, like, I thought they were the guys who made Metal Gear Solid way back in the day. And Metal Gear Solid was one of my favorite PlayStation games. That's funny because what has gone on in Konami? Like, I mean, like, this is like, so this is a little clip we'll play for you guys here. They're sort of showing like what's going on, and there's just like a guy running through a net. like you see this. It's just, this will give you a laugh anyway. So this is released in 2021. Like, and apparently people were waiting for this for 2 years, this game. So so we'll just roll that in the background. So this is like the closing news here on the live stream, but Oh man. It's like a compilation of all the glitches and stuff like that. Like this is worse than Cyberpunk. Like I got to give it that. This is much worse than Cyberpunk. So just you just watch it with us. We can So this is this eFootball that was released by Konami. So it's good to have a laugh, but I mean, I feel sorry for the people that were like really looking forward to this, and yeah, because it just like it's not making any sense at all. Like there was another one I saw where the ref was apparently like imprinted into the grass, and like players were running over the referee. So yeah, but this has got another minute. It is pretty funny. I do like it. So Konami has become Co-Money. Yeah, it's weird because they used to make some really good games. They used to make some awesome games, which was kind of sad. So yeah. Anyway, guys, we'll be closing up soon. So if you got any questions, then drop them down in the comments and we'll answer before I jump on out of here. And I got to go get some food and prep some dinner. So have you considered a build with an NVIDIA Tesla second display GPU and server Xeon CPU for extra PCIe lanes? No, I haven't. Everything my PC does at the moment, I'm very happy with. So I've got a 3080, 18 cores, 128 gigabytes of RAM. I'd use that for video editing a lot, and it does a really good job. I've had no complaints. There is one thing that I have had happen. It's to do with NVIDIA drivers, but I've fixed it. I think I've just got to edit like one more video because I've edited a few videos and it hasn't happened. There was this issue where like a black screen was happening and then your whole drivers would kind of crash and reset, and so I haven't had that since. So but I'll talk about that in maybe like a YouTube shorts or anything like that. So but yeah, that's eFootball. So one of one of the worst games of all history, according to ratings. It's one of the worst games ever made in history. So yeah, there we go. So Tech Yes, can you help? I love a good question, so drop one down below. Can you help? I managed to snag a 3080 Founders Edition from Best Buy. Should I trade up to an 80 Ti for $200? The warranty will be voided for the new card. What can I do? What can I do? Okay, we'll get back to the chat here. Okay, so this is a good question. I also got the $20 from Kevin Burnell. Thanks, cheers. Have a good feed. Oh, definitely. Thanks for the 20, man. We'll get some vegetables and thinking, yeah, chicken Kievs, vegetables, and some potato gems or something like that. So that'll probably be tonight's dinner. That's what I'm feeling like. Definitely got to load up on some carbs after working out. And so you've got there the option to go from the 3080 Ti for $200. I mean, the 3080 Founders isn't that great. Like, I wasn't that. The 3090 Founders, huge card, great cooling performance. The 3080 Founders wasn't that great of a design. And so I'd say with that 3080 Ti, $200, I would actually take that. I would do it. That's me. That's my personal opinion. If it's a different model too, if it's one of those big beefy models with 3 fans and stuff like that, I'd definitely go for that. So, because yeah, the 3080 Founders, in my opinion, wasn't the best of the bunch. That's all. So $200, yeah, give it a shot. That's what if you can afford it. So definitely, that's my opinion on that one. Tech, I managed to get a 3070 Ti at Best Buy. Would it run good with a 3600X or should upgrade my CPU? Definitely run fine with a 3600X. Great balance. That's a solid card. You'll be fine with that. Just make sure you get some good memory, 3200 megahertz or 3600 megahertz, and that'll be pretty good. So you got to make sure your DDR4 memory is tuned with that 3600X, and you should be smooth sailing. You should have some really good performance with a 3070 Ti. Very sort of 1440p orientated. That's where that sort of would be heading. We got here a donation from, thanks Mod. Brian, how about Linux powered potato PC we talked about a long time ago? Yes. So in terms of what's coming up on the channel here, I'm going to be getting a Dell. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. I want to get a 3rd generation Dell, and I want to put that in a normal case, make a normal gaming PC. So the one thing that bothers me about that is the power switch, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. So how to retrofit that to a different case and make it, you know, just like the Lenovo's, how you got the adapters with the Lenovo's and they became normal gaming PCs. I want to sort of work with the Dell and try and get by all the problems and get a working gaming PC out of a Dell motherboard that I've got. So that'll be the next video, turning the Dell into a gaming PC. It's a 3rd gen, so using a normal power supply and then seeing if there's any limitations. And hopefully that works out well. Then I can get onto a Linux gaming PC if you want. I'm just like Linux. I don't like, a lot of the audience here doesn't work with Linux. Like a lot of people are on Windows 10, like a huge, like the majority, I'd say the majority of people are here on Windows 10. Windows, I mean, especially for me, I've got to use Adobe Premiere Pro, and like Linux video editing just wouldn't be happening for me. So unfortunately, I'm stuck to this system. But yeah, definitely if you're into Linux, it does offer some really good advantages. So the 2080 Super is still okay to keep with i10900 considering the scalpers. Yeah, definitely keep it at the moment. Yeah, that's a great combo. You cannot go wrong with a 2080 Super. And the scalpers are out there, man. So the 10900F, great CPU. I recommended that to a lot of people locally. They're like, well, I want to get I was thinking about getting a Ryzen 5900X, and the prices are pretty stupid on that CPU still here. And I'm like, look at the 10900F, you know, and you don't have to worry too much. Yeah, so the video is mirrored. Yeah, I did that deliberately. So the video is mirrored. That's so the chat can sort of stay there and it's visible. Otherwise, if it was mirrored the other way, then it's going to look weird, really weird. Like you're going to be reading chat over my head. So I got a $5 donation. Get the Dell Inspiria, not the Office type. Okay, thanks. I do have, it is the Office one that I've got here because they are very cheap. So I want to try and convert that into a gaming PC and do some tech, yes, loving, have a bit of fun with it. And then thoughts on pairing this, the Asus ROG Rampage 6 Extreme X299 and a 7800X at 4.7 gigahertz. 7800X, isn't that like the 4 cores, 8 threads, is it? Isn't that like one of the least desirable X2, like you are sort of, the X299 Rampage is a very nice board. Oh, 6 cores, 12 threads. Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, at 4.7 gigahertz, that's going to be absolutely fine. What was the graphics card you had there? Did you mean it? That's a fine CPU even to this date. You got no problems there, especially at 4.7 gigahertz. That's going to play games absolutely fine. It's going to be very smooth. I'm going to start mining on my 6600 XT. Any thoughts? I mean, if you've already got the card there, and again, we can go into talk about mining and crypto. I don't like cryptocurrency mining on GPUs. I think it's destroying a whole industry, that being the one that I'm in. But if you've got the GPU there, then yeah, you might as well put it to work. And also, in turn, help drive money out of cryptocurrency, hence bringing the GPU prices down. So every little step counts. But yeah, put your 6600 XT to mining straight away because it'll help drop the prices sooner. That is if you're converting that crypto back into dollars. So what do you think about the R9270? Are they reliable? Yes, R9270 is a decent card. I like them. They're a great card. I found the 280s and the 280Xs and the subsequent R9 390s and 290s, they're more prone to more problems than the 270s because they're packing more heat. And especially in the case of the 290 and 390, they're packing a whole lot more heat. So AMD should focus on, is the i7 4790 still a top tier CPU for cheap games in 2021? Yeah, for cheap games, definitely it's fine. I'd say it's like, if you're moving into Apex Legends, I found anything less than an i7 4770 is going to induce stuttering. So that's for Apex Legends, maybe for Call of Duty as well. So your 4 cores, 8 threads is a good sweet spot still for those multiplayer games. But in terms of moving up to really, latest AAA titles, you might want to move into a 6 core, 12 thread. But outside of a 6 core, 12 thread, sorry, I haven't had any problems with stuttering or games, providing the PC's tuned right. So anyway, GT 1030 is only good for using in an office environment for extra displays. The DDR4 version, yes. The DDR5 version is like, I consider that the minimum gaming PC sort of thing. Like, you can play Fortnite on it, you can play Dota 2, you can play CSGO. There are a lot of games that you can play perfectly fine on the GT 1030. In this current market as well, the GT 1030 is a cheap graphics card. It is in shelves. It is in stock in shelves. So I don't like, I'm pre crypto mining boom, I was anti GT 1030. Post crypto boom, I'm kind of pro GT 1030 because it's an option and it's not an absolute rip-off. So that's sort of like that's how I feel about the GT 1030. It's not a great card, but it is a solution that will probably keep a lot of people happy. So we got here, hey bros, much love from the lockdown, Melbourne. Is it worth me leaving my my wife for my new GF? She is younger and prettier and doesn't give me when I don't. Oh, whoa. Okay. Man, that's a personal question. You're going to have to sort of, that's up to you, man. I haven't met you. I haven't met the Misso. I haven't met the new GF, so I can't make that call. You can't ask me these questions and expect a realistic answer, even though I know you're probably just trolling. When I asked earlier about the Tesla build, I meant, have you considered such a build for the channel as a budget build? Teslas remain fairly cheap relative to their GTX and Quadro alternatives. Oh, you're talking about like getting an old Tesla card off the used market. Yeah, I did look into that. So here's the thing about the chat's got, man, the chat loves your loves your little rendezvous there with your confessions. It reminds me of that. What is it, that Usher song? These are my confessions. That was a good song. So we got here the old Teslas. I did have, like, we can have a look live, but I did have a look at these Teslas and they just weren't really like kicking it much. Like, I couldn't find any for sale locally. Like, in terms of, this is what you're kind of looking for. You're only going to find, you're only going to find the Elon Musk cars. Maybe 4 GB or something like that. So there's just nothing for sale, really. There's none of these graphics cards for sale in terms of availability. So those are sort of like, yeah, those graphics cards aren't really available at the moment. So in my area, I know in the US though, I'm pretty sure you can get them at a pretty good price, and that's where the availability of the Teslas doesn't make them that viable. So if we go on eBay, there seems to be some decent buys. Maybe you could make that work in terms of GPU hacking. So 9 people have bought this. 2 October. Yeah, so these are getting snapped up recently. There's 2 available. I'd love to have one, but again, $30 international shipping. That brings the price up to $80. And I don't even know what's this equivalent to. Like, I haven't done my research on this particular model, but if you could get it to work properly, that would make for a good budget PC. Can you use that through the Intel HD graphics as well? Would that be doable on this GPU? Or that's one question I have. So a $5 donation here. Do you feel that AMD and Intel are done selling 4-core CPUs to the DIY market? Hope all is well. Seems pretty crazy in Australia lately. Yeah, things are very weird here. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have read the news, a lot of it's like, especially if I've seen there's the Tucker Carlson guy from Fox News. He's been covering it, covers it pretty accurate. If you want to know what's happening in Australia, go watch Tucker Carlson. He reports on that. He's pretty much summed up in a nutshell everything that's wrong in Australia right now. It's just like, it breaks your heart to see that this is the country you grew up in and to see what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, in terms of who's summing it up pretty well, that guy pretty much hits all the nails on the head. And yeah, they even international media gets more footage than we do here locally from our own supposed newscasts. So the situation here is pretty it's ridiculous. That's the one word to describe it. But damn, I'm just glad I'm in Queensland as opposed to New South Wales and Victoria. They've got it much worse than we do up here. So that's kind of like the sad thing as well. Yeah, so my heart goes out to my fellow Aussies down south. Some of them are getting screwed right now. So anyway, so we've got back to the question. We got the 4-core CPUs, the DIY market. Do I think AMD is going to stop the 4-core 8-thread and Intel? No. And the reason being is because that's where they can put all their trash silicon. Like they can put all the bottom of the barrel stuff down to 4 cores, 8 threads. So there's always going to be that market there. I mean, and in terms of where the gaming's going, there's always going to be a market for easy to play games. Like look at Valorant. Valorant, you've got League of Legends. These games are still the most played games to date. Why would someone want to go out and spend another $100 on a 6-core 12-thread or an 8-core 16-thread when all they need is that 4 cores, 8 threads? Or even then, all they need is 4-core 4-thread. So for those types of games. So they're always going to exist because there's always going to be a market for them. At least for the next foreseeable few years, I think if that's where we're going with that question. So yeah, the 4 cores, 8 threads isn't getting phased out anytime soon. How much will cost NVIDIA GPU? NVIDIA GPU, we got to wait because later this month there'll be the catalyst, and you can wind back in the stream. I actually put some timestamps after we close this stream off, and yeah, I'm telling you just to be able to react. That's all. Were the 80s and 90s really that better? A lot of messed up stuff happens every year. I mean, my whole life growing up in Australia, this is easily the worst it's been here, man. So that's all I can say on that subject. Yeah. So that's all I'll say is that, yeah, it's easily the worst it's been here. So that's the Aussie craziness, guys. And whatever you do, that's what I'm telling you. Whatever you do, stay healthy. And the best way to stay healthy is make sure you're sleeping well, you're staying warm, and you're drinking green tea. So Planet 886 NT, $600. Oh, new Taiwan dollars. Thank you so much. That's the new, I think that's the new Taiwan dollars. Tech, yes, love 'em, baby. Thanks for the donation. So, and that's, yeah, so big little is good how? Are they talking about the new Intel CPUs? 1080 Ti. 1080 Ti is pretty good, but it looks like miners are still targeting those cards, unfortunately. And big little is good how? I don't know because I haven't tried big little. So I can't tell you if big little's good. I've just heard the rumors on the new upcoming 12th gen CPUs from Intel that they are really good. Once you get a hands-on with them, if we're doing a review here at Tech Air City, I'll give you guys all the ins and outs and everything. So, man, Born's, what's going on? Okay, there's a bit of drama in the chat as well. Always need a bit of drama before we head on out. But yeah, that's pretty much wrapping it up, guys. This month, so prices have been as it stands right now. It's a good time to buy some certain components. Definitely power supply. Some CPUs, if they're decent prices. GPUs are still priced pretty high. We've got some massive catalysts around the corner, which have this is the thing, right? They have the potential to really mess up prices. And so that's why you've got to be quick. Be quick to react. If you've got some dry powder, aka cash, be ready to look for warning signs. And if it's in the inflation camp, and if it's looking like it's bad inflation, then definitely just get rid of your cash. It's gonna be worthless. So if it's in the deflation camp, then cash will be king. So there's those things that we talked about closing off the stream. Be careful with that. I always wanted to make sure you guys are making the best choice you can, given what information we got in the market. But if anyone tells you it's definitely going one way or the other, I just don't think they know because it's crystal ball. I mean, unless they got a crystal ball, because yeah, it can go either way right now. But we've heard from some people, like someone in chat donated some money, Nori. He's just said, look, the container situation is going to get worse. So perhaps you might want to stock up on some food. Just saying, make sure you've got some things that if things get really bad, I mean, I don't want to talk, maybe we shouldn't talk about this on a tech channel, but if things get really bad, then you got to say, okay, what do I need more than a graphics card or a CPU? So that's always one thing to be wary of. So, yeah. For instance, for me here, I've stocked up on some food. So that's, yeah, you got to stock up on your long life canned food just in case. So that's, you know, if shipping containers are getting cut off and whatnot, then a lot of things will get cut off. So there's the 1970s. Could be the 1970s all over again, just with a twist. So, yep. Anyway, guys, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Make sure you stay positive. Bang. Be ready to react. This month, October, stuff is going down. That's all I'm going to say. It's going down this month. And yeah, it's like, it looks like October. When are they giving that? I think even Janet Yellen's given the, I mean, I wouldn't take her word with a grain of salt, but Janet Yellen deadline. She's given her the deadline, which is later this month. So she's saying they exhaust the cash by October 18th. So they're saying roughly October 18th is when they completely run out of cash. So if they haven't reached an agreement by then, and that's the scary thing, right? If you're cash strapped and then supply chain strapped, man, that's going to be a situation as well. Like it's just, this month is one to look out for, brothers. Do stay on your toes. And, you know, this is, I guess, you know, the content's come a little bit slower than it has usually, but I've been researching a lot of different stuff, and it's important for you to be, you know, not get blindsided by some of this stuff that we've talked about today. So make sure you don't get, like, make sure you tell your friends, you know, don't get blindsided. Like, you know, Dadman came into the stream earlier, completely blindsided me with this lighting up here, you know, move the chair back, bang. You don't want to get blindsided like that, okay? That's all. Anyway, guys, hope you're doing well. And yeah, these next few months are going to be popping, man. That's all I'm going to say. We'll be coming back later in the month, talking with, we'll be live streaming, whatever. We're making content, and things are going to go off this month. So that's all we know. And it could go off on either ways. So make sure you stay tuned. And if you enjoyed the stream as well, hit that like button. And if you got any questions post-stream, be sure to drop a comment below. And if you're just tuning in late as well, if you're just coming into the stream now, make sure, love each and every one of you guys. Tech Yes Citizens. Let's do this. Let's move along. And drink your green tea. Stay healthy, fellas. And I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Wow, I got to time this right too. I got to time this right. Peace out for now. Bye.